Now, Nirmala Sitharaman has given a detailed rebuttal of negative Western perception of India. The Union Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman has claimed that Muslims in India are doing much better than the Muslims living in Pakistan. As she was responding to the negative Western perception of India at an event in Washington, the Finance Minister replied, India has the second largest Muslim population in the world, and that population is only growing in numbers. If there's a perception or if there is in reality, their lives are difficult or made difficult with the support of the state, which is what is implied in most of these write-ups, I would ask, would this happen in India in that case? Let's listen in to exactly what the Finance Minister said at that event.
India has the second largest Muslim population in the world. And that population is only growing in numbers. If there is a perception or if there's in reality, their lives are difficult or made difficult with the support of the state, which is what is implied in most of these write-ups, I would ask, will this happen in India in the sense, will the Muslim population be growing than what it was in 1947? As opposed to, let us say, I take the name of the country and therefore the contrast can be sharper, as opposed to Pakistan, which was formed at the same time. India was divided into two, Pakistan. Pakistan declared itself an Islamic country, but however is said, minorities will be protected. Every minority has been dwindling in its number, or if I may use the word which is harsher, decimated in Pakistan. Even some of the Muslim sects have also been decimated. Violence prevails against Muhajirs, Shia, and every other group you can name, which is not accepted by the mainstream, I don't know, Sunnis probably. Whereas in India, you would find every strand of Muslim doing their business, their children getting educated, fellowships are being given by the government. So across the board in India, if violence is happening to make Muslims get affected, itself is a fallacy as a statement. It cannot be so. Each province and its police are different.
Going across to our senior editor, Pallavi Ghosh. Very good morning to you, Pallavi. Now, she was speaking when she was asked a question about perceptions affecting investment in India. And she said if that was indeed happening, then investors wouldn't be coming. But she also said that instead of having a false perception, I request those writing about India to actually come, visit and have a look at the ground reality. But many will ask, why the comparisons with Pakistan and why not with the US or Europe, with whom we are actually competing?
Because many of these articles which have often been written, whether it's in the New York Times or Washington Post, it actually talks about India. I remember there was one specific article which was written in the New York Times, which actually put out figures to say that India's condition is almost as bad as its neighbors, for example, Pakistan, or a collapsed economy like Sri Lanka at some point of time. And essentially what she's trying to say is that please look at our neighborhood in stark contrast to, say, a Pakistan or a Sri Lanka or Bangladesh, which is also which used to be a safe haven for investments, foreign investments. India has done much, much better. And in fact, India is doing very well. It's a growth story. She talks about the green shooting of the economy, of the Indian economy, Shilpa. She also talks about the fact that post-COVID recovery in the economy has been the quickest and, in a sense, the best as far as, this particular neighborhood is concerned. If you look at the list of investments by, say, countries in UK, countries in and of course America, which are the countries which see the maximum amount of foreign investments, whether it's Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, Pakistan, and so on and so forth. And that's the reason why she's making a reference to what she calls a false narrative, which is being peddled in a section of the Western India, Western world, which tries to project India as an economic story which is going horribly wrong.
Pallavi, but I think the question, would still be asked why the comparison only with Pakistan, which many acknowledge is a failed state, and India definitely is a bigger emerging economy, the biggest emerging economy, the fastest growing one. So, was that comparison really necessary? And also, she spoke up about the plight of Muslims in the country. How significant do you think is that particular statement?
But I'm going to dwell more on the second now because Shilpa, I think I've fairly answered the first one. And also, the comparisons, as I said, I mean, has often been made in the Western media about how India and Pakistan and Sri Lanka, we are the backward countries. We are not the developing countries anymore. So very often in the Western media, examples are given and clubbing together of Pakistan and India takes place, which is something which I think the finance minister is objecting to. Her comments on Muslims is very, very interesting, impertinent, and very significant because, again, that's one narrative which is pushed forward in a section of the Western media. And I think a nishana and target is not just a section of the Western media, but also many over here also and political parties. I think she's also, without mentioning the Congress, referring to the Congress, that there are many who make the narrative that in India, it's a particular minority community which is being systematically targeted. She seeks to rebut that. And she's doing it abroad. She's doing it in America. And I think that's the loud message which the government wants to send out, that this is absolutely wrong. Sabka saath, sabka vikas, and that they are development agendas which are inclusive, and there is no systematic targeting of a minority section of Muslims.
Thank you for elaborating on that, Pallavi. But